And, you know, this went on for a 6-year period of time with your own child. And I wonder, have you read the arrest warrant?
No, I never received the arrest warrant.
Okay. Well, I'd encourage you to pursue getting a copy of it for yourself, because the victim's accounts of the multiple times that you did her. So the fact that you're serving for one sentence of illegal contact for a mere 3 years when this abuse went on for 6 is, I would say, remarkable.
Remarkable isn't the word that I'm thinking when I hear this. I'm thinking shocking. I'm thinking insane. I'm thinking injustice. How is it possible that a monster biological father who does it, as you heard, for all of those years, and for a DA to say, don't worry about it, you'll get a 3 years sentence. He was only sentenced October 5th of 2023, and his full term release date is 8/22 of 2026. And he's not a first-time offender. His jacket is loaded with crimes. Now, to add insult to injury, as if you needed any more of it, he ranks out a low risk on the static 9-9 risk assessment score. That's the risk assessment that nearly all 50 states in America use to determine the risk of a predator. Anyone who knows anything about this risk assessment knows that it's a joke, knows that it's a gimmick, yet still, all of these DOCs use it. But again, how can you have a judge, how can you have a DA say that this man's crimes, that this monster's vile acts, all it takes is 3 years in prison? Make it make sense. We're about to watch this monster's parole hearing, and he's as vile as it gets, which only underlines the fact that how in the world a judge, a DA, they agreed on 3 years. So with that, let's jump in.
Louis Astacio, 301-727.
This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Louis Astacio-colon 301-727. He is serving a sentence of 15 years, execution suspended after 3 years, with 10 years of probation to follow for illegal sexual contact with a victim under the age of 16. As of today, records reflect a parole eligibility date of February 22nd, 2025 at 50%. There is no victim input in this case. There is an offender accountability plan. However, it has been reviewed and he has not completed any of his programs to date. Utilizing the statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system, the offender overall score for the SRT falls within the high range of risk for recidivism. Utilizing the static 99R, the offender overall score for sexual offense recidivism fall within the low to moderate range. Mr. Astacio-colon, this is your opportunity to express to the board why you believe you should be granted parole, sir. You may begin.
I tried to do my programs and accomplish my programs before I came onto the board. They said I was on the waiting list. And then I was trying to get transferred to another facility where they could accommodate for me a little better, because I got a huge hole on my foot that I'm trying to get taken care of. And I'm trying to learn, you know what I mean? I regret whatever happened. And I regret losing the relationship that I had with my daughters and everything when it came down to.
So, Mr. Colon, exactly what is it that you have regretted to have happened?
The situation in general, completely everything.
Can you clarify that for me, please?
what I plead guilty was that, I, improperly touched one of my daughters, so I regret the situation.
Um, so what do you think is the problem that you had, and what did you need to address that problem? What did you need to do?
I don't know, maybe get involved more in programs and stuff like that. Mental health.
So you have addiction services, sex offender treatment, voices, and anger management. And I have that you began the short-term sex offender program. Did you complete that program?
No,
Why not?
because I was trying to get transferred because I'm diabetic and I got a huge hole on my foot. And this jail couldn't accommodate for me for the situation that was happening to my foot. And I didn't want my foot to get cut off, so I was trying to get transferred to another facility where they could accommodate for me a little better.
And has that happened?
It's a waiting list for everything that you do in this facility.
Did you make any attempts to get back in the program?
Can I make an attempt to get back in the program?
Yes. Did you make any attempts to get back in the program, the sex offender program?
No.
So, Mr. Colon, the problem is, you were charged with, illegal sexual contact of the victim who was under the age of 16 years old. In order for me to consider that you are appropriate to be released back in the community, you would need to address by participating in a sex offender program. In your opening statement, you never expressed any remorse for the victim or the victim's family. And you also have the Voices program, which address the impact of the victim or victims. And you also had anger management, which is an issue that was identified for you. And I have to tell you, Mr. Astacio-colon, you have not done well on previous community releases, and you have an extensive criminal history. You have 13 felony convictions, okay? And so I can ask you other questions, but knowing that you haven't completed any of your programs, okay, and you're still waiting to address your medical issues per se, that hasn't been addressed as of today. And I don't know what efforts you have made to complete the sex offender program. So the one thing that I'm going to ask you about is the actual offense that you have denied. So can you tell me why you think you didn't do it, and why this young woman would say that you did some inappropriate things to her?
I don't know why. And like I said, I'm on a waiting list, so I'm on a waiting list for all the programs and everything, so I really can't do nothing when it comes down to the program part of it for the voices and the anger management. I wrote request forms and everything so I could join back to get back into get into those programs, but they never let me get into those programs.
So again, I'm going to say to you, you said you did not commit the offense, but had to plead guilty because you would have received more time. And you don't think your sentence was fair. So I'm going to ask you again, why do you think the victim would say you did this to her when you are denied?
I can't speak on her behalf.
But I'm asking you.
I don't know. Why would they say that?
Why do you think that you're appropriate today to go out on parole?
And here is a whole different experience. Being in a wheelchair, being in here. I'm willing to do the programs. I'm just waiting to get involved into the programs. And the mental health one, I was trying to get transferred to another facility because I got a hole in my foot. I didn't, that's why I said I'll take it, but I need to get that taken care of.
So what you're saying is that you don't think you're ready to go out on parole today.
I'm not, I wouldn't be saying that.
But what are you saying?
I think I'm ready to go home on parole.
Tell me why you're ready.
Because it's a whole nother experience being in here in a wheelchair. Is a lot of things that you got to get used to. And then I tried my hardest to get into the programs. I haven't got no tickets. I've been staying out of trouble and everything.
Well, that's the one good thing that I can say, Mr. Astacio-colon, is that you have not received any ticket. My concern is you were accused of a serious charge over a number of years, and you're denying it, and you haven't completed any programs, and you really have not been able to tell me why you think you're suitable to go out on discretionary parole today. So for me, Mr. Astacio-colon, I personally don't feel that you're appropriate to go out on discretionary parole because you have not addressed any of your criminogenic needs. You have not addressed any other sex offender problem that you don't seem to think you have, but based on the crime, you do have that need to complete the program. And I think I've asked you why you feel that you're appropriate, but I don't think that you have been able to express that. And again, because you haven't done any programs, I don't think you're suitable today. But I'm going to turn it over to my colleagues to see if they have questions to ask you that may elicit an appropriate response. Ms. Turner?
Sir, you have 2 standing criminal protective orders against you until the year 2099. Can you tell me what you understand that means?
Can't go near or talk to or have any contact with the victims of the crime.
And that includes social media, anything electronic, messaging. You can't do any of that.
Yeah.
Okay. So you've been referring to going home, but you actually don't have a sponsor that you're planning to go to. You need a halfway house?
I was trying to see if I had either a halfway house or see if I could enroll into a hospital for special care, because I do have like a lot of pressure wounds that are coming up on my legs, and I needed to get my range of motion back together and stuff like that. So for my health, I would like to see either a halfway house or hospital for special care that's in New Britain to see if they can help me get my mobility back.
And you're looking to get SSDI reinstated?
Yeah, SSI.
You do understand that you can work part-time on that
If,
when you get that benefit.
if that's something that I could do, I would be willing to do too.
Yeah,
Get me
you should
some part-time job.
pursue through some of the reentry programs, or even a temp agency can probably find work for someone with your skill set. You mentioned to my colleague that you pled guilty for improperly touching one of your daughters.
Yes.
So you admit that you did improperly touch your child?
Yes.
Okay. Do you understand why you did that?
No, I wouldn't understand. I don't understand why.
Okay. So that's what we mean by you really need programs. Because let me finish. If you don't understand why you did it, then you're not in a position to prevent yourself from doing it again. And, this went on for a 6-year period of time with your own child. And I wonder, have you read the arrest warrant?
No, I never received the arrest warrant.
Okay. Well, I'd encourage you to pursue getting a copy of it for yourself, because the victim's accounts of the multiple times that you violated her or abused her for not allowing you to touch her sexually are very credible for such a young person. And her recall of the locations and the age she was at and what you did to her has a lot of credibility to it. And it's extremely concerning to me that with your physical needs, that a child of her age and gender would be put in the position of providing any physical care for you in the home is a bit shocking. It's far more appropriate for a home health aide to be coming in, or a visiting nurse, than to expect your 8-year-old daughter to help you bathe. That's just not appropriate. It's poor boundaries. And your willingness to, physically assault her for resisting you because she was uncomfortable and didn't want you touching her is really concerning. So I think you have a lot of work still to do to understand what was going on for you at the time and what you need to work on so that you can be out in society around children and not reoffend. You were charged with 7 counts of illegal sexual contact and 5 counts of sexual assault in the 4th degree. So the fact that you're serving for 1 sentence of illegal sexual contact for a mere 3 years when this abuse went on for 6 is, I would say, remarkable. And I hope you will take very seriously your own rehabilitation, sir. And there's no reason you couldn't have stayed in the short track program while you're there in the facility awaiting a transfer, but you chose to remove yourself from even the basic program they were offering you to help yourself. Very concerning. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, Mr. Ch0M0's.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't have any questions.
Okay, so Mr. Astacio-colon, we are going to deliberate on the record. You can listen but not say anything. So, Mr. Colon has not completed any programs to address any of the sex offender issues that he has. He was actually in the short-term program, but made a decision to discontinue so that he could address his medical need, which as of today still has not been addressed.
And I would add, Madam Chair, that he was in the program for less than 2 months.
Okay. And felt that his medical needs were more important. And so that was his decision. And based on the, at first, and I appreciate you, Ms. Turner, for getting him to admit that he actually did admit to improperly touching his child. Because when I asked him what he regretted that was happened, what had happened, he was unable to say that. He was very concerned that he had to plead guilty for something that he didn't do, but he did it so that he would not receive any more time that he did not feel his sentence was fair, never focused at any point on the actually offense that was committed. So for me, I do not feel he's appropriate because he really need to take the short-term sex offender program. He did not express any remorse for the victim. He needs to do the voices and he needs to do anger management because he was verbally and physically abusing his 8-year-old daughter for 6 years. And so I have him denied. And my reasons are the nature, inadequate institution program participation, and evidence of offending change. If you have anything else to add.
I agree. He scores high for his risk to reoffend. As you pointed out, he has 13 felonies in his criminal history. He's failed 4 out of the 5 attempts at community supervision. And in fact, the last time that he was out on parole, he had 1 technical violation and 1 criminal violation during that time. I actually think he needs domestic violence because he was abusive to the mother of his children in the context of continuing to violate his own daughter. So, you know, I came in here with a denial, but I was open to a rehear. I don't find Mr. Astacio-colon actually motivated. He's very much, you know, the center of his own world and doesn't seem to appreciate the need for his rehabilitation. So I'm fine with those reasons as you stated.
Agreed.
Mrs. Thompson?
I agree. That's that.
Yeah. So Louis Astacio-colon, inmate number 301-727. There is a motion to deny discretionary parole for these reasons. Nature and circumstances of the current offense, inadequate institutional program participation, and no evidence of offender change.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion granted. Mr. Astacio-colon, we wish you the best of luck, and we hope that you will take our recommendation to complete the programs with the addition of the domestic violence. So we wish you the best of luck.
This hearing is concluded for Louis Astacio-colon, 301-727. Mr. Colon, you're all set. You'll receive all this in writing. Good luck to you.
And you heard correctly, right? In his jacket, 13 felonies, 5 failed parole attempts, and the DA and the judge, they still agree on 3 years. Now, I don't have the information in the packet. This hearing happened on 12/30/2024. This was a time that Sir Richard really was having difficulty, but also they don't, for whatever reason, sometimes Connecticut doesn't show crimes that happened before the 10-year period. So I actually don't have the list of how long, these crimes, what they were. But the idea that he is an habitual offender in Louisiana, it's like, oh, 3 felonies and we'll throw it. But I mean, I want to sit across the room, and we're going to watch another parole hearing after this. But I want to sit across the room from the sentencing judge, from the DA, and just ask them why. Why? Why do you not throw away the key? Why do you not hit him? Like, I don't know, maybe they don't have the habitual offender in Connecticut. They probably don't. We've never seen it. Now that I come to think about it. But really? Like, really? This is the best you can do? What a disgusting. Giving it more. Some people are just broken. It's nice the parole board denied. We're not. He's still in prison. Again, this hearing happened 12/30/2024. His full term date is 8/22/2026. They gave him a 3-year sentence. Now, technically, the way that it's written is that they gave him a 15-year sentence, all suspended, but 3 and probation 10 years. And I wonder if he only needs to register for 10 years, because we oftentimes see that when it's probation for 10 years. And he's a low risk to reoffend, of course. The static 99 always makes perfect sense. But I wonder how many years he has in suspended sentences, which also never makes sense, right? If he has a total of 13 felonies and 5 failed attempts on probation, parole, how much time was he back in? Because surely those sentences had suspended sentences baked in, had like special parole baked in or something like that, right? But that's part of the gimmick. That's what we have seen. This is not a conspiracy. This is not me just, this is not just rhetoric. We see this all the time, and I really need to begin calling it out more. But we'll see someone that can have 10 sentences with a combined 50 years in suspended sentences. But when they get arrested for a new felony offense, the DAs never say, okay, you're going to go serve the time you owe. Instead, they make these plea deals. And it's like those suspended sentences never existed. Where am I wrong on this? I just don't understand it. Make it make sense. You can't, though. You really can't. There are sickos that are in charge of protecting this. We know that sickos exist in the world, but there are sickos or lazy people that just don't care, put in charge to protecting this. Now, let's jump into the next hearing.
Good morning. My name is Alberto Martinez, MA number 438328.
This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Alberto Martinez. 438328, he is serving a sentence of 12 years, execution suspended after 3.5 years, with 3 years probation to follow for attempted assault first, criminal possession of a firearm, ammo, defense weapon. As of today, records reflect the parole eligibility date of October 25, 2024 at 85%. There's no victim input in this case. There is an offender accountability plan, and it has been reviewed and showed he has only completed the SRG program to date. Utilizing the statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system, the offender overall score for the SRT falls within the high range of risk for recidivism. Mr. Martinez, this is your opportunity to express to the board why you believe you should be granted parole. You may begin, sir.
All right. I want to take this time to thank parole for giving me this opportunity to speak on my behalf. I want to start by saying that I'm coming home with a plan. I've utilized this time to prepare myself mentally for a better future. I realized I needed change in my surrounding and all of the negativity in my life. I have a strong family and friend support system that's helping me and guiding me in the right path. I plan goals and dreams that I pray to accomplish as soon as I have my freedom. I also completed the SRG program. I made a mistake that put me in a place and situation that I benefited in a lot of ways, from learning how to deal with my emotions to taking better decisions. I also learned how to control my anger and how to avoid all people, places, and things that triggered me. All my life, I committed mistakes to try and fit in with people that didn't have my best interests. Being incarcerated has taught me that family is all we got. I have to value and appreciate them because life is too short. I also been thinking of what I did, and even if I thought at the moment I was protecting my friends and innocent people, I'm no cop or superhero to think what I did was right. I was reckless, and I could have hurt and killed someone. I deserve these 3 years I've been incarcerated. Next time I find myself in a situation, I will get in the car and leave and call the police. Parole means so much to me. It's an opportunity for me to ease back into society, keeping me in the right track with programs, trucking school, and attending church services, accepting all the help I may need. I will be grateful if you grant me this opportunity to be eligible for parole. I will utilize it to better myself as I learn to accept my mistakes and won't commit them again. Thank you for your time and giving me this opportunity to speak.
So, Mr. Martinez, we appreciate that you took the time out to prepare the comments that you just made. And I just want as a comment to say that I don't think they're mistakes that you made. I think they're poor choices and poor decision making.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to take turns to ask you questions today. And at the end of the questions, we're going to deliberate on the record and let you know what our decision is, okay? And we're going to begin today's questions with Mr. Sadowski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
So good job on your opening statement. You answered some of the questions that I had. So I appreciate you writing that down and taking the time to put that together. I've read through the police reports about this incident. You know, one thing I was trying to understand was what this argument with this gentleman was about. How did it start inside?
It was in all reality, it was all a misunderstanding, and it was just a fight that broke out and went bad. As I don't know if you guys reviewed the video from inside. It was a fight that happened inside the bar. I tried to run out to go to my car. As I was going to my car, this gentleman put 2 guns in my face, and he decided to walk off for some reason. I got in the car, then I heard gunshots, and like Miss said, I took a poorly decision upon myself to retaliate when I should have just at that moment hop in the car and leave.
Okay, so this was like early in the morning hours, right? You guys were at the bar or at the nightclub, and it was involved drinking?
Yes.
Did you know that some of the bullets and where have you read the reports and some of the people that were, some of the bullets went through a car where there was a child in a car seat? Do you know about that?
Yes.
And then some of the other bullets went through a McDonald's play area where thankfully at that time of night there was no one at, but you did mention you're lucky that no one got killed. I think it's just by the grace of God, you know, but what you guys are describing, this chaotic incident, that one of the two of you didn't kill someone.
Yes.
Because it sounds like people were running in different directions and it was just a wild west scene, you know. And I don't know how, but somehow you guys didn't hit anybody, you know. It's just pure luck, probably. So it's very serious. We take these kinds of things serious. I appreciate your honesty and you recognizing the mistakes that you made in poor defense, like my colleague said. You were on probation when this happened, and as part of your probation conditions, you were not supposed to be driving a car and weren't supposed to be carrying guns or committing crime or anything like that.
Yes,
Did
sir.
you know that? Did you know that you weren't supposed to be driving a car? Did you have a driver's license?
No, sir, I did not.
So just a lot of things that went wrong here.
Yes, a lot of that. That's why I consider myself as making a lot of poor mistakes that I made, because there was things that I was doing that I should have never been doing. So that's why I accept me taking this time being incarcerated, because being incarcerated taught me that life is really short. And I've seen other people getting 30 years, 40 years and they will never get their life back.
Yeah, and
So,
you know,
I
I
had
can
to
tell you-
learn the hard way, and you know, I deserve this. Like, there's no excuses. I deserve this time to be
yeah,
incarcerated.
3.5 years for this is actually not a long time. I mean, we see people with gun cases which much longer incarcerations, and I can tell you that if you got another gun case, it's not going to be 3.5 years the next time. You know what I mean?
It won't
You're gonna
be
get
enough time.
Yeah, you're gonna get stung a little bit if you get another one. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah, so I mean, there were a lot of different things that took place that this could have been prevented. First of all, you weren't supposed to be driving a car, right? If you weren't doing that, this doesn't happen. You were carrying a gun, you weren't supposed to be, you know what I'm saying? There's just a lot of things that all culminated, bad decisions that led to this whole situation. Can you just talk a little more about how you changed since the time that incident happened until now? How do you feel different as a person? You know,
I feel different as a person because I learned to stay away from situations, because being here incarcerated, it's a lot of forms of getting myself into disciplinary situations, which I also had to learn the hard way too. And I got into one fight, and one fight caused me to put into SRG over things that I wrote on a piece of book. You know, like, it's just different things that I had to learn to be disciplined, so that I could prepare myself mentally. So when I get outside, I can actually see and learn that it's not always good to react soon as something happens. I have to think before I do things, you know. Think about everybody else. Think about the damage I could cause. Think about the life of somebody. Like, just one little fight in here could cause somebody's life. Doesn't have to be just with a weapon. Because I've done seen it already multiple times where people get hurt just by one little fight. So, you know, I feel like my situation here also learned me how to have patience, how to deal with multiple emotions from different people with different mental health issues. I had to be in a cell with somebody who has anxiety, who's schizophrenic, and I had to learn how to talk to them and speak to them as like if I was a mentor, you know, like, because I knew that wasn't there like on their mind. So I had to make them feel comfortable, so we could have a nice bond in the cell. You
yeah,
know, like,
those are important things to learn, because when you get out, at some point you're going to get out, and you
Yes.
may have family, friends, coworkers, other people and you have to be able to deal with them in a healthy way, you know, and make good decisions. So I'm glad to hear that you're learning to make better decisions. I am concerned about that fight that you had, just because,
yes.
you know, this incident that we're talking about, it started from a fight. You know what I mean? So now you get incarcerated, and then there's similar behavior. It's concerning. That was, you know, over a year ago, it looks like. So you haven't had any fights since then. So I'm hoping that you learn from that. You know what I mean? You have to find ways to avoid these situations, whether you're incarcerated or out.
Yes.
You know?
I definitely did. And when that situation happened and I was put in segregation,
Yeah.
I actually thought about that. And it's good that you mentioned it, because I did. I actually did think about that. And I was thinking to myself, like, why? Like, I feel like it did repeat itself, you know, because I made a decision that didn't benefit me, but put me in a deeper situation where it's like I spoke to myself multiple times, and I'm like, what am I gonna do? Like, how can I change? You know, like, so that's when in segregation, a CO came to me and told me I hear you talking to yourself saying that you want to change. Here's the Bible. Start with that. So I'm not gonna lie, after then I started reading the Bible. I didn't really understand it until he came checking on me daily and try to explain to me that you're not supposed to read the Bible as if the Bible is a book. You're supposed to read and find the scripture that best fits you in the situation that you're going through. So I started learning how to read the Bible, and I learned a lot on how to self-control, how to be wisdom, how to just deal with people in general in different situations. It taught me a lot in different ways, how to control myself before I gotta love myself before anything, you know. If I can't love myself, how can I love others? You know, so it's a lot that I learned in here, you know, and it's coming deep because I was never this person. You would have asked me this question 3 years ago, I would have probably laughed at you and walked away. I'd be like, man, I don't need none of that. I was young. I didn't know any better. You know, that's why I say I really didn't need this time incarcerated to learn, because not a lot of people go through situations like this. I never been through this situation. So this is something that I needed to wake me up so I could be a man, a better man, and realize that the streets will never take me anywhere but jail or death. I really needed this.
I appreciate that. And that you found, you know, the Bible to help you cope and deal with some of the struggles that you're having. So that's good. I read the DOC gave you a drug and alcohol score of a 4.
Yes.
Did you know that? Okay, 5 is the highest that you can have. So 4 is very high, you know?
Yes, and I'm sorry. The reason why I had that because I wanted to do the Tier 4 program.
Yeah.
Because I also wanted to prepare myself not to do drugs because I've been watching a lot of news. Too many people are dying over fentanyl, over drugs, and you never know. I was doing heavy drugs back then and drinking.
Yeah.
I don't want to do none of that stuff. I don't want to be on the news talking about this Martinez passed away from overdose or you know, it's scary.
Yeah, and I mean, not just drugs. I mean, you said that you were drinking on a night that this happened. You know, maybe things would be different if you weren't drinking. You understand? Sometimes we make bad decisions. You're not thinking clearly. So that's a concern for me because you haven't taken the Tier 4 program or any kind of addiction services, probably because of some of your other disciplinary reports and things. They kind of get in the way sometimes of you getting programs, and you were taking care of the SRG stuff. So you were pretty busy doing that. But what's your plan? I mean, have you gone to any NA or AA meetings in the facility? What's your plan to stay sober when you get out?
I'm if parole grants me, I would like to keep doing programs. I would really love to keep doing programs. Like I want to take anger management. I will take drug programs all over. I don't care how many programs I take, as long as it's helping me with myself. When I get out of incarcerated, I will take them all. I'm planning on, my brother has a towing company that he has. I'm planning on going to trucking school in Net in Bridgeport, so I could try to work on my license and work on being able to help my brother out build his business.
Yeah.
So that's one of my plans. My second plan is to, while I'm working on that, I have a friend that works at Eastern Metalworks in Woodmont Ave in Milford.
Huh?
I used to work there before, and I spoke to him on the phone, and he told me that if I come home, not to worry, that he's gonna try to get me back in. So that's one of my goals too. So other than that, go to church every day, try to keep myself positive, stay out New Haven. I don't want to be in the area of New Haven at all.
Okay.
I'm trying to stay away from New Haven as much as possible. I'm trying to seek all the help I could get. After parole, my parole is done, if I get granted, I will sign up to try to get housing, to try to, you know, do anything I can to keep me away from the streets again. I don't care if I have to go to one of those places that they'll find you jobs for a temporary job. I don't care if I work at a Dunkin' Donuts. listen, I'm just trying to do my best to stay out the streets. And that's what my main mind is focused on.
Okay. Well,
Staying away.
I'm glad to hear you saying all these things, because that's what you should be doing, is preparing yourself, right? Regardless of what happens today, you're getting out soon, you know? And you're gonna, if it's not parole, it's gonna be probation, and it's gonna be similar, you know? So you're gonna have rules and things to follow, and you need to be ready for that so you don't end up back in here. So all those things that you're saying about being willing to go to programming and be open to housing, whatever you have to do to stay positive and be a productive member of society. Those are all the things that you should be thinking about and getting ready. But in the next couple of months, one way or another, right? One way or another, you're getting out. I mean, this is coming to an end, so you need to be ready so you don't come back, you know?
Yes.
One of the things I wanted to talk to you about, you were talking about your release plan and where you want to work and the places that you want to avoid. But I read about where you were living before the incarceration, and it kind of sounded like you were going back and forth between houses and between people's places in Meriden, New Haven, things like that.
Yes, because at that moment, I had lost my job because of COVID. So it was like, I didn't have a job. I was getting unemployment. So I didn't really have enough money to pay for a house. So that I can't live with my mother because of the fact that my mother has Section 8.
Yeah.
So I wasn't on these, so I wasn't trying to put her in a predicament either. So I will sometimes spend the night at her house, and then I will spend the night at a friend's house, which is the one I'm trying to parole. She's a real close friend of mine since I was a kid. She's been there for me. She's helped me out a lot. She always tells me if I ever need help or if I ever need somewhere to stay at or anything, to always go to her house, that her doors is always open for me. So that's why I kept going from Meriden to New Haven, Meriden to New Haven, because this person's been helping me, you know? And
But I mean, so my concern is that, it was an unstable situation in the past. So having unstable housing is one of the factors that could lead to this chaotic situation. You know what I'm saying? You need to have a stable life and a stable situation, a job, place to go to at night. But you were living with this same friend in Meriden, part-time, on and off before. So how will it be stable now? And it wasn't stable before with her.
Oh, the reason why I'll be stable now is because I know she's gonna help me in everything because of the poor decision that I made before. And she never let me down before, and I know she will not let me down now.
But I mean, you have to accept the help though too. Do you understand? Because she was trying to help you before, right? She was trying to help you.
Yes, but it like I said before, I was young. I didn't know any better. All I wanted to do was like be out. I wasn't really focused on bettering myself. I just thought I had everything right there, that I was okay. I'll get another job sooner or later. But now that's why I accept the fact that I needed to be this incarceration taught me a lot, So that's why I know she's gonna be there and help me out until I get better. And I have my brother's support too. So my brother's gonna help me get working with him in a towing company, helping him out. Even if I have to be passenger seat, I know he's gonna teach me the basics on what I have to do. So when I go trucking, I could be more motivated into getting my license so I could work with him. And I'm motivated. I really wanna do this.
Okay.
It's something I want to do. I've been thinking about it throughout a whole year already.
All right, thank you very much. So I just had one other thing I wanted to talk about. I'm going to pass it along to my colleagues after that. Is that you were on probation when this incident happened. You were on probation because you had been involved in a car accident. Do you recall that?
Yes, I do.
So as part of that probation, you were ordered to pay restitution. It was like $3,150. Do you recall that?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so at your sentencing for this offense, the judge rolled over all the conditions from the probation into this. Do you understand that money doesn't go away? Have you paid that?
Well, my lawyer told me that I didn't have to pay the money no more. I don't know.
Well, take it up with your lawyer. It does say that those conditions rolled over into this, but you can figure it out with your lawyer. I was just wondering if you had ever paid that, or if that you just never paid that $3,000.
They told me, well, that's what the lawyer had told me. But if it has to get paid, listen, I got responsibilities come first and priorities always come first. I will pay it.
Well, you sort of after they'll approach you, I'm sure, if you owe money.
Yes.
So, okay, sir, thank you for talking to me. I'm gonna pass on to my colleagues and they can ask their questions, Madam Chair.
Yes. So, Mr. Martinez, during the interview with the parole officer, you said you've never been a member of a gang.
Yes.
Like you said, by DOC standards, you are identified as a member of the Latin King gang.
Yes.
Now, I'm looking at your ticket. So the ticket that you talked about the most was a fighting ticket that you received in May of 2023. But the same month, you also had an SRG ticket. And then in September, you had another SRG ticket. And then in October of last year, you had another SRG ticket.
Yes, ma'am.
So are you telling us the truth, or
No, I'm
were
telling you.
you a member of the gang? And why is it that on 3 different occasions you are identified as a member of the Latin King?
Right. So at first, the things that I wrote down on a piece of book that caused me to get the SRG ticket, which was the first one. The second one, I was avoiding a situation that I was told to do, and I never wanted to do. So on the ticket, it clearly says that I didn't want to be part of it, that I was trying to finish my SRG time and go home. So that on part of that ticket, that's what explains. But they gave me a ticket as a politics because they said that either way, it was politicking with other SRG members. It was about the Latin King. So even if I was denying to be part of it or to do anything that was part of the Latin Kings, they still charged me as a politic ticket. So I was like, okay. And then the third ticket, it was an old paper that I had in my property that I thought that they took and they never did. So when they found it, I asked the CEO, I was like, how did you find that if that's that piece of paper? I had already got a ticket for that piece of paper. And he explained to me that it was on my bed when that day I switched from one cell to the other. And I dumped my property on my bed because I was going through my sentence modification paper that I already had tried to file. But I couldn't file because the situation with the ticket caused me to go to the segregation. So I had to wait a whole year to refile again.
So which of the SRG ticket did the CO give you the Bible?
The third one. The
Last
third one.
October?
Hold on, you said hold on.
Last October.
Yes, you said that was the SRG, that it was they call it as the Holy Bible. And that right there was, yes, that was something that it was already in my property in the past and it was found again. So I told him I took it and it put me on phase 1, which I had to start.
I heard you, Mr. Martinez. I understand what you said.
Yeah.
Some of it does not make any sense, but that's what you're saying. Now, you told my colleague that you were doing heavy drugs and drinking.
Yes.
When the incident occurred, you said you were drinking Hennessy and beers.
Yes.
And then you said you discharged the firearm because you were defending your friends. Would any of these friends belong to that gang?
No, ma'am. It was nothing but females around me. I was with a female that night and I was with no guys. I was just trying to defend my two friends, which is one of them was a female accomplice and the other
the one
female,
that was picking up the bullets.
Yes,
That
ma'am.
you had fired.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so what were the heavy drugs that you were doing?
At that moment, around that time, I was doing ecstasy and coke.
That's new.
That's why I filed for tier 4. Because I do not want to relapse and go back to those drugs.
But during the interview, all they came up with was the alcohol.
Yes.
So let me see if I get this right. You were on probation. You didn't have a legitimate job. You were smoking and selling drugs. You had a gun. And it's obviously that you were hanging out in the wrong places. Does that sound about right?
Yes, ma'am.
So everything that you were doing was all wrong.
It's all wrong. Everything.
Right.
From
And you're
waking up to the
sitting
morning.
there, yes, and you're sitting here today. You've only completed the SRG programs because you've received 3 SRG tickets and a 4th one for fighting. You say you have a problem with alcohol and ecstasy and cocaine, and you haven't completed a tier program.
The reason.
So you understand from where I'm sitting today
Yes.
that it doesn't seem like you're ready to go out on parole. Think about it.
Listen, I know I'm ready, and I understand your point of view. I'm not denying what you see and what you feel. I respect you to the fullest, and I understand what you're telling me. But me personally, I think I'm ready. Because I could have been catching a lot more tickets. I could have been catching Pruno tickets for making alcohol in jail. I could have been catching tickets for drugs that other people catch while they were incarcerated. I could have been catching tickets for more fights. I could have been catching tickets for assaulting a DOC officer. I could have been catching multiple tickets on different occasions. But no, I learned how to control myself, and I learned how to fight my mental health thoughts, and I learned how to realize that things that I did in the past is what caused me in the situation that I am now.
So you're saying you also had mental health issues because you just said you fought your mental health thoughts.
Yeah,
What does that mean?
That's when you have. I was easily triggered in the past, that's the reason why I ended up in jail. If I would have thought about what I did before I shot at that situation, I would have never been in this mess. I had to think, now I got to think before I do things. I got to think about who I'm putting in harm. I got to think about people, victims, and innocent people in their family. I have to think about my family. I have to think about a lot. It's a lot that I could lose, and it's a lot that I could take away if I keep walking the path that I was walking before.
So, Mr. Martinez, what I can tell you is that, you have done well in not receiving any more disciplinary reports in the last year and 2 months. And that's positive. So you can continue on the positive path that you have there. There's not much time between today and when you're actually eligible to complete the 3.5 years. Okay, so I wish you the best of luck. Ms. Turner?
So, Mr. Martinez, you've been sentenced to the state's deadly weapon offender registry. Do you understand that obligation?
Yes, I do.
Okay, 5 years. When you go out, you have 7.5 years of this sentence hanging over your head because you got a sentence modification. You already got 6 months taken off the time you had to serve.
Right.
Yes, I do.
I have no idea what basis they used to reduce your sentence when you're out there on probation, discharging a firearm at other human beings. You were on probation 1 month, less than 1 month when you got this new case. Less than 1 month. So you need to understand, sir, that what we're doing today is making a decision about whether you're suitable to finish your sentence, the 3.5 years, out in the community under supervision. And we have to make that decision in light of the interest of public safety. You're telling us that you were under the influence. You've done nothing to address that while you've been incarcerated. You told my colleague that in argument, the basis of the argument was a misunderstanding, and it led to gunfire out in the streets of our community. So you really need to take an anger management class. I know they addressed that in SRG, but you need to ask them for anger management before you're discharged in October. I will not be voting for you to go out early on this sentence. It's just too damn serious, sir. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, so we're all set, Mr. Martinez. We're going to deliberate on the record. You can listen but not say anything. Okay, so Mr. Sadowski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, Mr. Martinez, has been doing well over the last year. I think he's on the right path, headed in the right direction. And he's glad to hear that he recognized the bad decisions that he made and that he seems remorseful for what happened and regret that he made poor decisions. So I am glad to hear that he is heading in the right direction, because at some point he is going to be released and out in the community. However, he does rate high for risk to recidivate. As both of you have mentioned, he has not taken up programs to address either his addiction or his anger issues. He has a 4 out of 5 for a DOC drug score, and he hasn't done anything.
And if you'll notice in Mr. Sazowskis, that in the interview with the parole officer, he completely downplayed any substance use. He didn't even mention the marijuana until later on in the interview, and not in the context of substance abuse. And he's done no treatment out in the community in the past.
So, and then we just add in these SRG tickets and also the fighting ticket. It's just, this whole picture does not sit well. And it would really be negligent for me, as far as community safety, to find him suitable to be released into the community today to serve the rest of his sentence. Does not have much time left. So I would encourage him to please get these programs in and try to continue on the path that he's on. So that way, when he does go on probation, he can succeed and not end up back here like after 1 month, like the last time. So
I'm struggling a bit with, he wants programs when he's out in the community. And he's sitting here telling us he believes he's completely ready for release.
Right, and I told him he wasn't, and why, that he needed the management and the peer program. And so I agree with what you said, Mrs. Dauskas, and I am not in favor of early release
It's
either.
just too serious.
and I don't want to discourage him, and I want him to stay on a positive path. I understand this is difficult to hear on his behalf, but does need more work. And so the reasons I had were the inadequate program participation, the poor institutional adjustment because of all the tickets. He was on probation when this all happened. I mean, we could add other stuff.
Nature and
Nature and
circumstances. I think are critical.
circumstances.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's 4.
Yes.
Okay, nature on probation, inadequate programming, no evidence of offender change and poor institutional adjustment.
Well, I think that Mr. Sazowskis is really promoting that he's hearing change. So
Yes.
perhaps we would just say inadequate program participation without the evidence of offender.
Okay.
Yeah, I do hear some change starting to happen in him, and I want him to continue on that path because he is going to be out, and it serves the public, no good for him to not have been rehabilitated. I would like him to continue to do what he's doing and get the programs, and then come out and do what he's saying he's going to do when he gets out.
In the case of Alberto M Martinez, inmate number 438328, there is a motion to deny discretionary parole for these reasons: nature and circumstances of a current offense committed while on probation, inadequate institutional program participation, and poor institutional adjustment. Do I have a second?
Second,
All those in favor?
aye.
Motion granted. So, Mr. Martinez, we hope you will continue and take the programs that we recommend, and we wish you the best of luck on probation.
This concludes the hearing for Alberto Martinez, 438. Mr. Martinez, you'll receive all this in writing, okay? You're all set. Thank you, have a good day.
Okay, did you pick up on that death stare at the end? That was a heck of a death. What did he really expect? Holy cow! When you put things into perspective, and I'll go over this footage again. Thank you, Sir Richard, for finding it and point out who he was in the situation. And gosh, like if you, like, oh, your co-defendant, the girl you're with, who was picking up your shell casings. I mean, that's like a new line, you know. Well, but you know, my boo is so loyal. She picks up the shell casings as I'm firing it. I mean, can you just think about that for a second? You're in the middle of a shootout, and you actually somehow have the wherewithal or the mindset, I should say, to pick up your boy's shell casings. Wow! I mean, like, what you get what I'm saying? How can you possibly how can that be where your brain goes in middle of a shootout? Let me go pick up the evidence for my boo over here. And it's just it's remarkable because, you know, and Miss Turner points it out, just the insanity of it. Of in what world does the DA give you a 6 months off of your already putrid sentence? And this goes into exactly what I was saying about the time that he owed them. He could be in prison longer because of the time that he owed them. Thank you, sir. Let me just share with you, like, this is the record Sir Richard has. So he has 6/11/27. Before we go over it, right? We'll go over this. So he has okay. So he gets 1 year jail suspended. 1 year jail suspended. Here he doesn't get anything. Then he has resisting arrest. He gets 1 year jail suspended, probation 2 years. Where he violated, of course. Arrested on 12/25/2019, evading and risk of injury, 1 year suspended. But here's the big one, okay? And this is not the shooting offense. So he has attempted to commit assault, first degree. This is 10/10/21. He's sentenced to 12 years jail. Wait a minute. No. So I'm. Yes, okay. So here it is. So this actually is this current sentence. He's sentenced to 12 years jail, suspended after 4 years, probation 3, and then they modified it. Now, did he? You know, what do you do afterwards? This is what she was talking about, to get that modification. After he's already sentenced, they modify it to 12 years, suspended after 42 months, probation 3 years. And if you add up, I guess he doesn't really have a really long sentence until then. He has 1 year, probation 2 years, 1 year suspended, 1 year suspended. Okay, so I guess I was wrong there, that it didn't add up to more time. But that's neither here nor there. How does he get the sweetheart deal? Now let's go look at the footage again, so you can see how insane this is. So that's this dude's over here. I think that's him. Right? Now this guy comes out with a gun, and he's like yelling around. He's 2 guns, 1 in each hand. You see in the left, right there, and 2 guns. He's like, "Yo, chill." I don't know. Like, do they just have guns pointed at them every themselves every like day? Like, you could just take it so coolly. Now he goes into this car. Doesn't it look like these are gunshot holes everywhere? Right? He goes and gets his. Meanwhile, right, he's on probation. 1 month he's out on probation. Like, who's driving with the? And then he comes out. That's his girl, I guess. Look what she does. You'll see. Now they're shooting. He pulled. Look, she actually grabs his wrist. Did you see that? Oh no. Let's go to the commercial. Did you see how she grabs his wrist there? And they're like, "How do you not hit anyone?" Well, maybe they don't hit anyone because they just all suck at shooting. Also, if you have your girl grabbing your wrist, but I mean, it's just insane. I mean, can you imagine? I can't imagine having a gun, two guns pointed at me like this, and then I was just, everyone's acting like in there. It seemed like everyone's just acting like it was happening any day, and there's no excuse like to give a short sentence. It's not. You don't have self-defense. He got in the car. None of it. He's a convicted felon on probation with a firearm shooting it. Like a jury wouldn't care that there was another man a second ago pointing guns at him. I just even if you were a law-abiding citizen with a permit to carry, I think that you'd probably be facing some type of scrutiny if you had gone in your car and the guy was now across the way and you got out and shot. Now I get it. There's still context there, and maybe it depends on the state, and you're allowed to protect yourself and others, and depending on what the person's doing, if he's an active shooter, I get all of that. But if he had come and robbed you and was running away, most states couldn't just go there. Oh man. But he's gonna be getting out regardless, no matter what, right? Here it is in the spreadsheet. He's already out. Sorry. I'm recording this 7/20/2025. He was released 5/4/2025. Let me just search the database. He is still out. He's not in. And I wonder how long that's going to possibly last. I mean, let's be real. He's saying, "Oh, I'm not in the gang," but yet he has all these SRT write-ups, which are gang-affiliated write-ups. I don't buy it. I don't buy any of it. It's this is just why it's like it's insane that the system would not take someone who's clearly a danger, who doesn't take his own life seriously, other people's lives seriously. The idea that he's out a month after into his like probation with the gun shooting at people. This is someone who is so dangerous. To release him after just a few years in prison is insane. And you hear this from others who have spent certain. Oh, I never got. I've seen this. I maybe seen it too. They'll blame the system when they catch a life sentence. I should have gotten a 10-year sentence. I kept getting these little sentences. I never knew what to take it seriously. And this guy would have that argument. He should have gotten a 10-year. He needs to grow up and mature out of this, because going right back in what do you think is going to happen? This is predictable. It doesn't help anybody giving a little sentence. How do you get the modification? It makes you wonder. There you have it. We'll keep track. If he does somehow make it back to us, we'll be in the return of playlist. But I don't think so. He's not on special parole, so he'll just be a new crime. I should Google search him one last time before I check the database. Well, let's Google search him. Because it wouldn't surprise me. This is funny. The first thing that pops up is someone with the same name who killed someone in a DUI crash, but it's not the same person, because that happened in January. So, anyways, with that, I'll let you go.
when you go out, you have 7.5 years of this sentence hanging over your head because you got a sentence modification. You already got 6 months taken off the time you had to serve.
Right.
Yes, I do.
I have no idea what basis they used to reduce your sentence when you're out there on probation, discharging a firearm at other human beings. You were on probation 1 month, less than 1 month when you got this new case. Less than 1 month.